The facts matter.
Identified themselves as Moorish sovereign citizens were arrested after allegedly breaking into an Edmonds home. That group has become notorious for taking over private property and claiming it belongs to them. KIRO 7's Deborah Horn is live in Woodway. And Deborah, Edmonds police have had run-ins with this group several times since October.
They tell us that they have seen them, Simney, at least 4 times here in Edmonds, but this is the first time they found someone inside one of these homes. Well, that happened right down this long driveway here in Woodway on Friday night. It was here in this stately home in exclusive Woodway that Edmonds police say the 2 suspects were found.
Friday evening around 9 p.m., just after 9 p.m., our officers were dispatched to a burglary in progress.
Edmonds Police Sergeant Josh McClure says an alert neighbor noticed someone appeared to be inside this home. The neighbor knew the owners were not here, that indeed the house had been recently sold.
When officers arrived on scene, they confronted 2 individuals on the property. They were confrontational, said that this was now their property and the officers were trespassing.
More officers arrived and the couple was taken into custody. A 32-year-old Tacoma woman
Have a seat, sir.
and 46-year-old Marcel Maddox Bay. In fact, Maddox Bay has been stopped for trespassing on private property in Edmonds at least 4 times since October, each time identifying himself as a Moorish sovereign citizen. The Southern Poverty Law Center describes the group as an extremist group whose members believe their status as members of a sovereign nation imparts immunity from federal, state, and local authorities.
So their belief is that the laws of the state of Washington and the United States don't apply to them.
Still, Maddox Bay did allow his public defender to make a vigorous argument for his release on his own recognizance, and the judge agreed. Sergeant McClure says he hopes the arrests send a message that neighbors and law enforcement will remain vigilant. I assume you wouldn't mind if they just moved along as well.
Well, that would be the preference, right? We don't want anybody.
Sergeant McClure says this is actually part of a pattern. The members of this group pick a large home. They're large. The homes here in Woodway are very large. They say they've taken ownership of the home, and then, of course, the police are called. Now, as for the woman who was arrested, she, too, has been released from jail. Reporting live in Woodway, Deborah Horn, KIRO 7 News.
What you just heard is a report that was from a couple of days ago on a Marcel Maddox Bay. Many of you might recognize that name. That particular party is supposed to be someone who's involved with the Moorish American Consulate, a supposed Moorish judge, as a matter of fact. I'm sure that they're going to call this a victory since they were released from jail, but the point being that their garbage that they pulled in order to attempt to try to take over this property and many others since October didn't work, of course. Also, take notice that the lawyer that was used was a white lawyer, and a lawyer was used. So I thought that was supposed to be off the table too. Regardless, it had nothing to do with jurisdiction or any of the arguments that they generally make. I'm going to read you more information out of Everett, Washington from the Herald real quick so you can hear the story from another perspective. This is titled Moorish Sovereigns Try to Seize a $4.5 million Woodway Home. And instead, of course, the pair were arrested for investigation of burglary. One claims to be the leader of the Moorish group. Aren't they all leaders? They all claim to be leaders. It's amazing. These people have absolutely no respect for anyone else's property. It is unbelievable. 2 members of a Sovsit group broke into a vacant $4.5 million home in Woodway, claiming they had seized the property under Moorish law, according to police. 6 times since October, residents of Edmonds or Woodway have reported self-proclaimed Moorish Sovsits showing up to expensive homes uninvited and claiming the legal right to seize these properties. Many adherents of the movement claim they are exempt from all civil or criminal law, citing a fictitious treaty from 1787, according to the SPLC. In reality, the treaty that they are referring to is not actually fictitious. It simply does not state what they claim that it does. The actual Treaty of Peace and Friendship is all about shipping and protecting between the United States and Morocco in terms of the actual shipments and that kind of thing. If you read through it, which we have actually done many times, you will see it has 100% nothing to do with the claims that they make. Marcel Maddox Bay, 46 years old, of Mountain Lake Terrace, is listed as part of the Supreme Judiciary of a group known as the Moorish National Republic Federal Government. Now, it's interesting because the Moorish National Republic Federal Government is a part, of course, of the group that also has the Moorish American Consulate. He's claiming to be a supreme judiciary, but yet he is not actually listed in the Moorish American Consulate. Regardless, it matters not. We know who he is. We know that this is something he tries on a regular basis, and his claims are false. He is not a judiciary of any kind, and the Moorish National Republic federal government is not a recognized government. Around 9:05 p.m. Friday, a neighbor called police saying someone broke into a gated home in the 2100 block of Chinook Road in Woodway, according to reports filed Monday in Everett District Court. The neighbor knew the owners and knew nobody should be inside. It's an affluent, exclusive neighborhood. The house, with 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, an indoor basketball court, indoor pool, and 4-car garage, went up for sale a few weeks ago. Around the same time Friday, a security company alerted officers that someone set off an alarm inside. Police arrived to find a silver car with California license plates outside the gate. A man and a woman were on the other side. Security footage later confirmed 2 people had broken into the building, according to police. Officers recognized Maddox Bay from other recent run-ins with Moorish Sovsits. Those incidents got some national media buzz when a man wearing a tall red fez, later identified as Maddox Bay, knocked on doors carrying documents written in a strange form of legalese, announcing to at least one resident, quote, "I am here to let you know I am the legal owner of the property, and today is the day," end quote. In those incidents, the unwanted guests departed without making any direct threats of violence. Maddox Bay had been given trespass warnings at several area homes prior to the Friday break-in, according to Edmonds police. The suspects had posted a notice on the property's for sale sign indicating their new ownership of the property under Moroccan law, police said Monday. Officers noted Friday that Maddox Bay and the woman, Courtney Simone Martin, 32, of Tacoma, refused to say if they understood their Miranda rights and also declined to speak with police. Both were booked into the county jail for investigation of residential burglary. The court records under the name Marcel Maddox show he defaulted on a home loan, causing his lender to put the house up for sale in 2016. Maddox Bay filed for an injunction and proclaimed that as a Moorish American, he was immune from taxation as well as criminal and civil legal jurisdiction in the United States, says an opinion from the State Court of Appeals. The appellate court found no support for his claims, that he is beyond the reach of law, and rejected all of his arguments. Maddox legally appended Bay to his name in 2017, according to court records. It's common for members of this movement to take on the name Bay or El as a symbol of Moorish heritage. One prominent sect of the movement asserts that Moors were among the earliest settlers to America and the rightful owners of supposedly all lands ceded to the United States in the Louisiana Purchase. But of course, that is false information. On a conference call of Moorish Sovsits streamed on YouTube in late January, Maddox Bay recounted being arrested for a warrant in 2019. He claimed he had outsmarted the local legal system by repeating a statement over and over declaring, in part, his Moorish Sovsit divine and natural rights to the my corporal and incorporeal heritements, whatever that means. He would repeat the script until the court hearing ground to a halt, causing the judge to set another new hearing while he remained behind bars. According to him, this happened about 20 times. He expressed disdain for the supposed judge, as he claimed, the supposed judge, and also prosecutors who he labeled actually British agents. Unbelievable. Maddox Bay began to speak at his bail hearing Monday. Actually, before we get into any subject, he said. But his public defender cut him off, saying he'd advised him not to talk to the judge, and the pace of the legal banter between the attorneys prevented Maddox Bay from interjecting again. A Snorhomish County deputy prosecutor noted Maddox Bay had been accused of violating anti-harassment orders on March 26th and March 27th, as well as May 29th. Maddox Bay listed an address as general delivery, which is common for people with no fixed home. Everett District Court Judge Tam Bowie asked him if he would be able to check his mail at the post office each day for the court papers. "Sure," he mumbled. "I didn't hear you," Bowie said. "Yes," he said. Hearing almost nothing else from the defendant, the judge decided to release him without bail. Martin was released on personal recognizance Monday also. Martin had filed for a protection order against a former boyfriend in April in Pierce County, accusing him of bizarre, obsessive, and paranoid behavior. In October, she asked to rescind the request under the letterhead, quote, Moorish National Republic Federal Government, Moorish Divine and National Movement of the World, Temple of the Moon and Sun, the True and de jure Natural Peoples, Heirs of the Land, Islam, end quote. She wrote that she had been trying to cope with a personal loss in March, and the court case had only added to her many challenges in 2020. Financial distress brought on by the pandemic, she wrote, forced me out of my home with less than 30 days counting to move, she wrote on October 5th. I must remind this court, she wrote, I have the inalienable rights to share that my living, breathing life and the upcoming holidays with my tribe, and I invoke all my rights which have been provided to the courts in Section 1 of this Moorish government letterhead as statement of truth as the indigenous people. I'm going to continue to follow this for you guys. We will take a look at the actual case. Just because these two were released on personal recognizances does not mean that they do not have to show up to court. So we'll continue to follow this and see where it goes, but I wanted to update everyone. The links will be in the description to the two articles that you can take a look at, and I hope everybody has a great day. Bye-bye.